Chewing time with Korean movies. The movie title is One Fine Spring Day.
April is a glorious month, breathing lilacs out of the dead lands, mixing memory and desire, stirring dull roots with spring rain. T.S. Eliot. Love is like April, and it twists the feelings of lover. The emotions are swaying like the roots of a lilac in the rain of April. The romance of young is always in the spring of the year, even though the time flirting and bustling between two youths are two stereotyped affairs in life. It always makes our hearts sway. A melodrama many times reflects beautiful memory of human being. At the time, TV or movie show the romance between beautiful woman and handsome man. Many people are willing to be involved in the story of the romance. That is the nature of males and female. This movie, One Fine Spring Day, is typical melodrama, and it is harmonized with beautiful and handsome characters and quiet sound of nature and peaceful images of atmosphere. The handsome man Ji-tae-yu and beautiful woman Young-ae Lee have the power to attract audience attention and make them involved in the movie together. We just enjoy watching the movie and sharing the tiny and cozy moments with them, remembering the story of our young days. Sang-woo, a sound recording engineer, lives with grandmother who is in dementia, father, and aunt. He meets Unsu, a radio producer at a local broadcasting station, for recording work.
다시 갈게요.
The younger generation is a little different from the old generation in finding out someone they don't know. Sang-woo calls right next to Unsu, who is dozing off on the bench in the bus terminal lounge.
여기요.
A telephone call from a promised telephone number
한수라고 해요.
is a kind
잘
of
부탁해요.
passport of trust.
잘 부탁드립니다.
They greet briefly each other and go collect natural sound together. They collect the sounds of bamboo forest. The top of the forest is swaying with a sound of rustling. The rustling sound of bamboo forest make people feel lonesome and longing for something. The granny near the forest says she always feels cold and longing for something when she hears the sound of rustling. It may be because of murmuring of bamboo forest. By the time they are collecting the sound of the stream, the cooperation between the two seems very natural. When Sang-woo asks Unsu why not marry,
그럼.
she answers she had already experienced it one time, and without context. Unsu asks Sang-woo if we know how to use the fire extinguisher, as if she is preparing to extinguish a fire anytime. And Unsu speaks slowly, as if checking the step of using a fire extinguisher.
강하게 움켜진다.
It is raining outside, and the raindrops are bouncing against the window. Unsu is looking out of the window and watching the raindrops beating and pouring the windows,
아, 다음
and
주
gives
월요일이요?
a call to Sang-woo. Sang-woo becomes happy
아, 거기
having a
비
call
오는구나.
and goes to bed pulling the blanket over his face with a happy smile.
아이고.
It's raining outside the next morning. Also pay respect to Buddha, wishing for something, and Sang asked her what wishes she did. She just smiled, saying she forgot. The air is still and the wind bell hanging from the eaves of the temple is quiet. They'll have to stay another day to collect the sound of the wind bell. The temple in the mountain is very quiet, and Sango sits on the veranda, smoking in the darkening evening. The air is fresh, but still silent. Unsu opened her eyes, dimmed, hearing the sounds of wind bell. When she opened the door, she sees Sango is collecting the sound of wind bell in the snowy morning. The bell is tinkling with the blowing winds, and Sango is observing, collecting the sounds. The sound of winds and wind bell mix together very peacefully in the blowing snowflake. Sango is sleeping, for a while leaning against the pillar, and Unsu, sitting next to him, is looking at Sango carefully. This man is so handsome. When Sango takes Unsu home and is about to leave, she opens Sango's jeep door and asks, "Do you want to eat ramen?"
라면 먹을래요?
She asked him, "Do you want to stay tonight while cooking ramen?"
자고 갈래요?
That night, they share kisses and hug. But when Unsu asked Sango to wait for a while to be closer before doing it, this innocent guy kept going further. The next morning, when Sango, who was about to leave, returned to Unsu's apartment, he sees her opening the window and waiting. That day, they become one body and miss each other. Sango is watering flowers and trees in his house, and his grandmother sings a song of longing. A light pink skirt is floating in the spring breeze.
나도 보고 싶어요.
Late at night, Sango takes a taxi from Seoul to Gangneung to meet Unsu after he had a call from Unsu that she missed him.
강릉.
Unsu waits on the deserted roads, and Sang arrives in Gangneung at a time when the morning is near. They go to the riverside to collect the sound of running water. A high school brass band is playing the song Plaisir d'amour, Pleasure of Love. When Sang collects the sound of river, Unsu is humming the song Plaisir d'amour. Sang recalls the humming of that beautiful woman and the sound of running water. How beautiful sound! Now, Sango stays beside Unsu and becomes an assistant
가.
and a hidden lover. Unsu hosts a music program with a young music critic. This man shows interest in Unsu and fixes his eye on her as if reading her mind. Unsu asks him if he knows how to use the fire extinguisher, but this time she doesn't check the step of using it. Now Unsu's mind is shaken and her thoughts are complicated. When Sang talks about marriage rounds, Unsu answers by saying that she doesn't know how to make kimchi. Even when Sang sings for her while collecting the sounds of the sea, she is lost in thought, sitting quietly with her head down. She doesn't look so happy. The atmosphere in the car returning from recording the elderly couple's Jongsan Arirang in Jongsan village, the remote rural area is not live. As if refusing, Unso leans against the car window. Unso says,
이제 뭐 할 거야? 일도
"It's
끝났는데.
about to end." Sango asks what it means. And Unso just to say, "Oh, feels suffocating," with a sulking face. Uns packs Sango's clothes and put them out of the door. Sango feels his pride hurt. Sango leaves her and returns to Seoul.
함께하고 계십니다.
The pain of love falls on the heart like rain. And on rainy days, the loss of love rises as pain. Sango opens the window and it's raining outside. He tries not to collapse before the sadness of loss, like the bouncing raindrops in his heart. One day, when Sango is healing his mind and returning to his daily life, also comes. Sango nods helplessly to Unsu, who asks if he wants to see her with a pretty face. His peace of mind is broken, and they go to Gangneung and spend the night together. Unsu suggests Sango to stay away from each other for a month, and whenever Sango calls, her response is cold. Sango, who went to Gangneung out of longing, sees Unsu go for a drive as a man's lover. At night, Sango visits Unsu and cries over the loss of love. Unsu, who was living by bus, suddenly gets off the bus
헤어져.
and asks Sango to break up firmly.
어떻게 사랑이 변하네.
Sango says, "Is love changing?" and says, "Let's break up."
헤어지자.
Grandmother is waiting endlessly at the station for grandfather, who died after going out to live with another woman.
이제 정신 좀 차리세요.
Sango, who went to pick up his grandmother,
이제 정신 좀
shouts,
차리세요.
"Please, get a grip." But this is full of upsetting, as if it were also a rebuke to himself. Grandmother gives him candy, as if he knew her grandson's mood. Sango, who made a long scratch on Unsu's car by the sense of being betrayed, returns home and closes the door of his room for several days. And then he cries in his grandmother's arms. Grandmother comforts him by saying, "You shouldn't call the boss and the woman that has gone once." On a spring day, grandmother goes a long way, dressed up in a faded light pink hanbok. After finishing his grandmother's funeral, Sango turns her shoes toward the house. It's like he's welcoming his grandmother's soul. One day, Unsu suddenly comes, but Sango says goodbye to her forever. The recorded humming song of Unsu is still beautiful. Listening to the song humming inside his mind, Sango tried to collect the sound the reader feels. Countless reeds are swaying wildly, with the wind like a woman's mind. He is listening to the sound of wind with his eye closed and smile happily. Sango's friend said, "Imagine her who become old with gray hair," for his friend Sango, who feels sad about losing love. Sang said, that seems to
그러니까
say,
불쌍해진다.
the beauty ones remain as beautiful memories, and remembering the memories make us smile. Like a usual melodrama, this movie also appealed to our emotions, to stimulate our senses and imagination. Sound and scenery, snow and rain, and quiet mountain temple and rustic rural affection combine to form the basis of this movie. In it, audience are deeply immersed into the affection and conflict of the handsome and beautiful main characters and empathize with the story of the movie. It is the power of these special actors that make it impossible to hate Eunsu, who put Sang-woo into the trap of joy and sorrow, while sharing Sang-woo's joy and sorrow